And good evening, this is Bob W6CGX, and I'll be your net control operator for tonight's Papa Great Outdoor Net. This net meets every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific. This is a directed net, so please go through net control at all times, and your cooperation is always greatly appreciated. Stations with emergency or priority traffic can come into the net at any time with a double break, and net control will respond appropriately. The Papa system is an open membership-supported system in the Southern California area with coverage from the Mexican border to Paso Robles and from the Channel Islands to Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're a visitor to the Papa system tonight, I invite you to go to papasys.com, that's PAPASYS.com, and register as a guest. With your guest registration, you'll have 45 days of free access to the Papa system. At the end of your one-time 45-day guest access period, we'd love for you to become a subscribed member, continue to use the Papa system on a daily basis, and be part of the Papa system family. However, all amateurs are welcome to participate in the daily, weekly, and monthly Papa system nets regardless of their membership status. Again, this is the Papa system, Great Outdoor Net. And good evening. This is Bob, W6CJX, and I am net control for tonight's Papa System Great Outdoor Net. So with that, I hope everyone, could anyone just turn that wind down just maybe a notch? And seems pretty quiet outside right now, but boy, it's just been something else. So didn't have much of a rest break between the rain and the wind. Nice to get out and do some gardening. Pretty nice weather out there. So hope everyone's having a great weekend. We're at the end of it, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, before we get started, let's pause for the announcements. I'll play those, and then we'll continue with the net.
Here are the Papa System weekly announcements for the week of January 12th. Papa has an extensive network of repeaters, covering a multitude of modes. They exist not only to provide communications during emergencies, but also as a place for you to use your radio for actual conversations with your fellow hams. So instead of a radio check, just put your call sign out there and have a chat. Check out the YouTube video on the Papa homepage, grab a cup of coffee, as Eric KJ4YZI makes a good case for actually talking to folks on the air. The Papa San Diego Luncheon. Papa will be meeting in person on Saturday, January 17th at 11 a.m. at Cocina del Charro in San Marcos. Cocina del Charro has arranged for a special buffet, $27, including tax and tip. We will need a minimum of 25 attendees for this price. Please purchase your buffet meal tickets on the Papa website 1 week ahead of the luncheon. We will have ham license testing at the San Diego Luncheon. Please pre-register on the Papa webpage and try to arrive before 9:45 a.m. You can also register by going to http://ham.study/sessions/k6sml. For any questions regarding the test session, please contact Patrick's email at papatesting@live.com. Denny's Thousand Palms Luncheon. Papa will be meeting in person on Saturday, January 31st at 11 a.m. at a new location, the Denny's Thousand Palms. Everyone is welcome to come on out for a chance to meet and visit with your on-air friends. Denny's Thousand Palms is located at 72244 Varner Road, Thousand Palms, California. Please RSVP for the luncheon. Ham license testing at 9:30 a.m. Register in advance, no walk-ins please. Papa Quick Start Program. At all of our test sessions, we have a quick start program for newly licensed technicians. We will help you understand how to communicate on the Papa system with fellow ham radio operators. You will be able to get on the air as soon as your new FCC license arrives and receive a free pre-programmed VHF-UHF handheld radio at no cost to you. You are encouraged to join the new Hams Net Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. with Steve, KI6LOV, and connect with fellow amateur radio operators. More details are available at all of the Papa test sessions and on the Papa website. Papa members are invited to an online presentation on RT Systems radio programming software on February 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. RT Systems offers user-friendly programming software for amateur radios. If you can think of a ham radio, they probably have a module for that. Karen, KD4DXX, will be our host for this Zoom presentation. See the PAPA website and email for the link to this meeting, and mark your calendar for February 7th, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. All this information, and a whole lot more, can be found on the PAPA website at papasys.com.
By George, I don't think we timed out. Isn't that great? Wow. We must have done something. We had some tweaking going on in the back country of the outdoor net. Okay, well, we've got a couple things coming up. We got the San Diego luncheon coming up. I think that's the biggest thing we got going on. There is an increase of $2. In case you heard that on the announcement there, it's $27 per person, and they will have testing and everything there for that. So that's where we're at in the part of that announcement. Let's see if there's any other announcements before we start the net. Okay, they say silence is golden, so we'll take that as a golden opportunity to talk to Steve, KI6LOV, who I believe went to the cabin and returned. So I just got the message that he is home safe. So let's see if Steve's ready for us. Steve, KI6LOV, field report, please.
Well, good evening, Bob, and everyone out here on the great outdoor net. This is Steve, KI6LOV, and indeed, the groundskeeper was back out to cabin 138 this weekend. That would be me. And it was such a beautiful evening. Evening, but day as well. A little chilly, but into the evening it didn't get as cold as I thought it might. And today was a glorious day. So I finished up my work at the cabin, and on my hike out, I talked with Bob at my favorite radio spot along the upper Winter Creek Trail. And just after I cleared with him, and I was hiking down the single track, this is a very kind of steep terrain situation with lots of little side canyons and such. A group of hikers was coming up, and maybe 25 people. That's a big group. I don't normally see groups that large. So I pulled off to the side there and let them pass. This trail winds in and out of the little side canyons, as I mentioned, and so I can see ahead 20 or 30 yards, maybe a little farther at times. And then I heard more people, and I came to another group with like 15 people, and I pulled off and let them by. And they were not speaking English, and I just kind of wondered what was where they were from. So they passed. So then I was at a section where I could see maybe 100 yards in front of me, and up ahead I saw a line of people coming around the corner as I've never seen before. And so altogether I counted well over 100 people, and they're all passing me, men, women, mostly in their like 30-ish range, and they seemed very confident, and I heard them speaking, and I thought I might recognize the language. So one young man said hello in English to me, and I asked him, I said, "What group is this? I've never seen so many people on the trail." And he said, "This is the Southern California Russian Hiking Club." And I said, "All right for you, carry on, sir," and I just let them all pass. But I could not believe I have never seen that many people on the trail. So I wished them well, and I hope they had a fine rest of their hike. So and you know what, Bob? None of them were barefoot. They all had shoes on. I wondered if they made the right selection for their day hike. So with that, I'll give it back to you, Bob, and I'll hopefully be out here next week with another report. And this is Steve, KI6LOV, back to Net Control.
Well, thank you, Steve. We got to witness one of your famous stories. I mean, we didn't witness. You shared it with us very quickly since it happened today. And now you can add that to all the stories you have as far as the Russian hiking team. Maybe it's going to be an Olympic thing in the summertime. But either way, that was interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, as long as they had shoes on, they get some points for that. If they have some kind of a lug on the bottom, yeah, they get maybe a couple more points for that. And if they actually have laces and a heel and those kind of things, because I've seen people, like I said before, in flip-flops. Where I'm leading with all this, and it wasn't intentional. It's not scripted. I'm just making this up as I go. Thank you, Steve. So, yeah, where I'm going tonight is we're going to study a little bit of the evolution of hiking boots. I know that sounds like extremely boring, but, we've all, I would imagine, most of us have had hiking boots at one time, whether they were good ones, bad ones, left big blisters on our heels and things like that. So we'll hear maybe some hiking boot stories or shoes. There's hiking shoes now that actually are very nice and very expensive, but they're very nice, like Solomon and some of those other ones, right? Okay, so let's take a quick break, and then we're going to go to, I think we have Andrew tonight for a little bit of Papa Outdoor Learning Adventures.
This is Andrew for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. The history of hiking boots parallels the great American love affair with the outdoors, a love affair that blossomed only a matter of years after the modernization of many American cities. Even with the hardships of the Oregon Trail and the horrors of the Donner Party still fresh in many minds, people were already turning back to nature. Our fine country was barely 100 years old when its citizens began fleeing their hard-won urban strongholds for the quiet contemplation of nature. This late 1800s phenomenon was largely the work of John Muir, the naturalist and writer who recounted his time spent living in Yosemite. Hiking boots either laced up to just above the ankle like modern 6-inch boots, or they went nearly up to the knee. The first major advancement in hiking boot technology was the introduction of the rubber outsole, something first developed by Red Wing. This vastly reduced the cost of boot production and increased the lifespan of boot outsoles and allowing them to go longer between having to be resold. Italian Revolution. Enter Vibram. Vitale Bramani founded the famous rubber sole company in 1937, 2 years after the tragic death of his hiking companions. Bramani always thought their deaths could have been avoided had they been better equipped, and he desperately sought an alternative to the boots that he was sure put climbers and hikers in danger. This is just a small sample of hiking boot history. Thank you, Bob, W6CJX, for letting me share this interesting and informative information. Back to Net Control.
All right. Well, thank you there, Andrew. Very good report. Yeah, what I was interested in when I started, I guess I did the research. He kind of did too. He helped out. He's my co-producer. But he found out that about Vask, which, most people look for that on the bottom of their hiking boots. If they're buying new hiking boots, they're kind of like going, do we have that little yellow rectangle or whatever it is, triangle, squished triangle? It says Vibram on it. So I never realized that there was actually, I know there's a company, and of course that little history on that. And then the first rubber soles. Can you imagine? I looked at some of these hiking boots, literally were like kind of taken from like maybe cowboy boots in the sense that the soles were all leather and they didn't really have any kind of knobby effect to them like we do now. And of course that gives you so much better traction. So that's where Vitale, I guess, came up with the Vibram sole and changed the way people hike. So with that, I think what we'll do is get started here. I was going to say my first pair of boots, real boots, because I don't think I even, all the hiking I did as a little kid up in Idyllwild, I don't remember hiking in boots, but probably did. Nothing fancy. But the first really nice boots were a pair of Loa, and they were 1969, and they had the Vibram sole on the bottom. So that was where I introduced to that nice yellow tag on the bottom. And then one of my favorite boots, and still to this day, are Vask. They were comfortable out of the box, and you always hear that, but they were. They were so comfortable. So those are still, I think they're called Vasque Breezes, but they have different models. Vasques are a good brand. And then a weird off-brand that when I decided to get back into hiking, I went to Big Five and bought a pair of Hi-Tech. And I swear those things were so comfortable. They were lightweight, they're comfortable, felt like, house slippers or something. All right, that's my story, and I'm holding to it. W6CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net tonight, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Let's see who's out there tonight. Come on in and say hello. Just come in and say hi, or let us know your experiences with any type of hiking boots or what you got now. Please come now.
November
KK6WLD.
KM6USO.
KJ6GEU.
K6DV.
November 6 Alpha Quebec, Quebec.
Kilo Delta 6 Lima Bravo.
November 6 Hotel Alpha Lima.
Alrighty. So, good group. I think I got everybody. Wow. You guys like just sitting there waiting to check into the net? That's awesome. We got Monty. We got Adrian. We got Greg. He made it with a call sign like WLD. It's got to be on the net. We got Brian USO. I got Bob GEU. We got Ellen K6DV. And we got Dale N6AQQ. We got Logan KD6L. I feel like I'm doing the multi-mode net. And N6HAL. Okay, did I miss anybody? And we'll pick you up.
KI6LOV.
KF4PQH.
Okay, I'm glad I did that. We got two more. We got Steve and Ron. Let's go up to Monty. KE6 Giant Quail Overhead. How's everything in the biggest of bears? Is that how it works? I don't know. How are you doing? Monty, help. Take me out of here.
All right. Hopefully I'm making it. Bob, am I making the repeater okay? Just a real quick signal check.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, I think we had someone last night that was going on for 20 minutes and we couldn't really hear him. No, you sound great. Thank you for doing that.
Okay, yeah, last time I checked in, I wasn't making it or some internet problem was happening. So boots, I just used whatever boots was available to me. Everything from the Big Five boots to, fancy boots. Now, I have to say about a month ago, I got new ski boots. Does that count? I had a private fitting, and it took 3 hours to get this thing fitted. So there you go. Go get new ski boots. You'll sit there for 3 hours. The guy fitting was excellent, and so that was fun. But I've been hiking in tennis shoes, and I do have some other boots, but that's about it. And Steve, Das Vidania, that's an incredible story. Over 100 people on the trail. That's big. I don't ever recall seeing that. Anyways, KE6GQO, back to you, Bob.
Yeah, 100 people. Did they even allow buses in that little parking lot? We'll have to find out when Steve comes on. Monty, yeah. No, I think, tennis shoes are okay. There's some good running shoes. As long as you don't have like weak ankles. I have a trick ankle. It doesn't do that many tricks, but the one trick it does do is it goes sideways, and so do I. So being kind of top heavy, I just kind of go along with it. So that's one reason I wore some really good hiking boots, at least 6-inch style. Never up to my knees. That was motorcycle stuff. And ski boots are cool. Yeah, they work. They work. I remember all my skiing days that there was the gels inside that would eventually form to your feet. I'm sure it's much more advanced now than it was. But when I wore my Kissinger, does that sound right? They were orange boots back in the day, late 70s. I wore them every day, and I wore them all day where everybody was putting their sorrels. And when they get to the shack there at the lift, they'd put on their sorrels. And so I just kept my ski boots on, and they got very comfortable when you wear them every day of the week or something. All right, I had to throw that in there. Sorry. Apologize. Thank you, Monty. Sounds good. Yeah, you're doing good up there tonight. KK6HNG, Adrian, welcome.
Good evening, Bob, and everybody on the net. This is Adrian, KK6HNG. Wow, 100 Russians. Well, long story short, I've heard in that canyon people speaking Russian. It's on other trails as well, typically 2-3 people, but hey, 50 to 100. Oh no, I could have never dreamed. Talking of boots, wow, what a timing. I actually have a boot story today. Well, basically, I typically prefer to do the light kind, like Skechers Go Walk number 5 type things, which are super comfortable and basically they are comfortable from the second you put them on, not after a while that you break them in. And, you don't want to know how many pairs sequentially I used so far. Probably close to 10, whatever. But I decided that, hey, I want also something a little more sturdy. In the Sierras, in other places, some people even ask me, hey, is that okay? Yeah, except if I hit a rock, that maybe I will lose a toenail or something, which actually happened once. But, yeah, they are super comfortable and they have a pretty good grip and all that stuff. But I wanted something a little sturdier still, not a real hiking boot because I found it a little too rigid for summer hiking anyway. So here I was at Columbia. Oh, nothing. No, not my number, because my number 7.5 to 8, it's a little hard to find sometimes. Could buy online, but then what? If they don't fit me, do I need to take them back? Okay, that sucks as well. So I ended up, after the mishap with Columbia where I couldn't find anything, I ended up in Big 5, yeah. And I found a pretty interesting pair there. I think it's called, I don't even know, I never heard that brand before. Put it in my feet, walked around the store probably 15-20 minutes. I was wondering whether the cashier was thinking that I'm going to run out of the door with them or whatever. But anyway, it was all fine and good. So I said, okay, I'm going to buy them, and I did, because I couldn't go wrong. I mean, I knew that sole they had, that rubber sole they had, will not last a long time, and if it's completely worn out, it becomes a public danger because it will be very smooth, with no grip at all after that. But before that, it's fine. So I said, but okay. For the price I paid for it, that was exactly $30. I say I only need to use them one season, and that would be good enough. And if it's not going to happen, at least I'm not going to lose that much anyway. So that's my boot story for today. Yeah, I know people prefer different kind of boots for different kind of reasons, and I think there is no right or wrong. It's whatever fits you best and makes you have a safe and comfortable hike. KK6HNG, back to net control.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, really, like I said, the pair that I got from Big 5, the high tech, and they still sell those, I think, and it was very inexpensive and just was a wonderful boot. So you don't have to spend it. It's just like you got this thing going where you hike with some people and they've got these boots and they're like, oh, I love these, and all right, I got to try those now, and so it's kind of like one of those. You got one, so I got to go buy some. but you really, it comes down to is, what you're wearing comfortable. You don't get blisters, don't get heat spots, hot spots. I've got a whole roll of moleskin because I kept running out of moleskin, and it's pretty good stuff. So I got the whole roll of it from Amazon for like $5. So that's going with me everywhere I go. That's a lifesaver for sure. Thank you, Adrian. And let's say hello to Greg, KK6WLD. Hopefully we get back to him in time. I know he does other nets too and things. So, Greg, go ahead.
Thanks, Bob. And, there's nets every night, but that's why I'm over here. Anyways, glad I could make it over here. Actually was out in the great outdoors. Well, outdoors anyways. Went and hiked the relatively new Oceanside trail over at the Cabrillo National Monument down here in San Diego. It was a gorgeous view out there with a nice breeze and beautiful endless sunshine. So put those hiking boots to some good use. That being said, the current set of hiking boots, I believe, are from Columbia. The replacing the previous set, which was my first and possibly last hiking boot with Vibram soles on it. I was severely disappointed in how much money it cost relative to how long it lasted. It didn't seem to outlast the Big 5 boots, which, as you pointed out, are actually not too bad, but they're definitely much more economically priced. And when I was younger in high school, it used to be pretty much my exclusive shoe. A High Sierra or a Hi-Tech hiking boot. That was my daily shoe for chasing buses and running across the high school campus up in San Francisco. Not bad. And of course, at that time, you don't really stick with the same shoe for more than a year, anyways, due to growth issues. Anyways, that being said, and I was going to comment, Steve, great to hear about the cabin trip there. You got me curious about that group, so I did a quick Google search and came up empty. So they are a very low profile on the internet hiking group, if not so low profile on the trail. Quite interesting. And I think with that, pass it back to you, Bob. Interesting topic as usual. KK6WLD, Greg in San Diego, via the local repeater, which is Papa 15 tonight.
Of which I may add, you sound absolutely marvelous. You definitely sound good on 15. Yeah, I saw you're coming in on 15. Well, that just goes to show you, it's true. There's some really good boots out there. It's just something, it's a personal thing. I think there's so many out there now. You can go by someone's suggestion or a recommendation that, you got to have these, you got to have these. Well, you'll find something. The only downside to all that is trying them on, walking around a store. Now, that's not hiking. And maybe that's one of the areas, well, I guess Big 5 might take them back too if you went for a hike. But I know REI probably will. If they're still brand new and haven't done anything to them, you can bring them back and, exchange them. They just sell them as a used boot. Give you the oot in the boot. All right. Thank you so much, Greg. You finally made it. Well, you did make it before. That was not the first time. I was looking down at Brian. I almost called you Brian. No. Brian's next. Okay. Thank you so much, Greg. And don't be a stranger. We love to hear any stories you got. It's the great outdoors. Brian, KN6USO. Is it KM or KN? It's been a while. KM6USO, my neighbor to the east. Welcome.
Well, good evening, Bob. It's Kilo Mike 6, Uniform Sierra Oscar. Good to speak to you. Look outside. It's probably a blue moon, I'm guessing. So if I'm going to pick a net to hop on, it's Bob's net, that's for sure. So good to talk to you. Been doing some work in the lab and had an opportunity to pop the radio on, so glad to be here. Long story short, I broke a toe the night before a mammoth trip and took the snowboarding boot because I really wanted to snowboard with this girl I was dating who I later married. And I wrenched down, it hurt so much, I just wrenched it down to numb the foot. And, that was a stupid thing. Because I ended up with a Morton's neuroma, kind of ruined my foot, and couldn't really ski or snowboard after that. And that totally changed my hiking boot scenario. So couple that with getting older, and I ended up with recently just getting those Orthofeet shoes, and they make hiking boots. So if anybody's got plantar fasciitis or anything like that, and you get into that brand, they do have a boot, which is nice for hiking. So, but that said, I think hiking boots are overrated because a good friend of mine named John famously at the last minute decided to hike Mount Whitney, and he did so in Vans. So I think at the end of the day, if he can do that in Vans, then maybe we all don't need the boots. Anyway, great topic. Good to speak to you, Bob, and everybody else. Back to you. KM6USO.
Okay, duly noted. We changed it to KM6. That's what we go through now. That's how I can tell. Well, good. Yeah, exactly. You know, if you got at least not flip flops, not slip in sandals, but yeah, something that at least goes around your shoe and it's semi, athletic in style or something, or just well. But now in the good old, I was cracking up when you said you had to cramp it down so bad that it would actually numb your toes. Thank you, Brian, and thank you to you too. Let's say hello to Bob. KJ6GEU. Let's see if he's still on Papa 3.
Hi, Bob. KJ6GEU. Thanks for doing the net. Yeah, I'm on Papa 4 Hotel Mobile now. How's my signal?
You're sounding good. Yeah, you're fine.
Cool, very cool. Okay, so boots, that's an interesting topic. I've been partial to Salomon boots. I had a pair of SX91 Salomon ski boots for ages. Just ran those things into the ground, bright red and white, and they were fantastic, and they finally fell apart. I'm now in a pair of Technicas that I bought right after that, and those things are beat up now, too. They're probably 10, 11 years old. Everybody says I really need to go buy new ski boots, all of that stuff, because, all the new ones are so much better. Well, they probably are, but they're also $1,000. And these things are still comfortable. I can ski all day long in them. And for the plantar fasciitis prevention, I've got a pair of Superfeet inserts in them, and they work great. And as far as hiking boots, my wife actually bought me a pair of Salomon hiking boots like 12, 13 years ago. They are beat to death, but they still feel great. I still use them on any hikes that are more than, easy. If there's anything that's like very little elevation gain and I don't have to worry too much about traction, I've got a pair of New Balance trail shoes that are basically, running shoes with a little more traction to them. And they work great too. So, been really happy with Salomon boots. Thanks for doing the net, Bob. 73s to everybody out there. Kilo Juliet 6, Golf Echo uniform, back to net control.
Well, thank you, Bob. Yeah, Salomon makes, I had Salomon, I don't know, what did I have? Salomon bindings, I guess, on my skis, but I think I also had Salomon boots at one time. And then, of course, they make great hiking boots, and hiking shoes. So some people get away with the hiking shoes. I memean, they got everything a boot has, just they're not up to your ankle or 6 inches high. So that sounds good. But if you get a good pair, like I have still have that pair of Vasks, and they're great. I wouldn't, unless they're full of spiders or something by now, but I wouldn't, buy another pair. I'd just put those on. They were so nice. I usually wear them out to the island when we're doing that, just to have extra support for my ankle. All right, sounds good. Well, we're going to be doing pretty soon a kind of a special, I guess, on the Olympics coming up for Winter Olympics. So all you skaters, skiers, and bobsledders out there, whether it's, it should be a lot of fun. So that's maybe next week, and it might be the week after. It doesn't start until February, but I figure we can talk a little about winter sports, what your favorite one is. So just a teaser there. All right, thank you, Bob. GEU. Let's talk to Ellen, K6DV. She's going, Bob, just shut up and get to me.
Oh, I wouldn't say you were reading my mind, Bob. Kilo 6 Delta Victor sitting here on top of a hill. Salomon boots. I had a pair of banana yellow Salomon ski boots I skied with for 5-6 years. Most comfortable ski boots I ever owned. Then I went to some Scott boots, but that's skiing, and that's another topic for another day. I did have a set of boots that I used that were big, clunky, heavy, lugged, that took the ice crampons and the running bindings for the skins that we used to walk across the glaciers for the avalanche training. Anyway, that's long ago and far away in Switzerland. Good memories, though. However, nowadays, the boots I use are exclusively Merrells. The Moabs, the short ones for around here to do the work, and the high tops, mid-rise, they call them. I've got several pairs of those for motorcycling because they're absolutely the best boots for riding a bike, and I use those, the waterproof ones, for long trips that take me away for a week or more, and for day trips I just slip into the vented meshed ones that are just ever so comfortable. So that's all I know about boots at this moment in time. I do have a little tip, though. if you go up to REI and sit down without somebody badgering you to buy this or that, and just get yourself a couple of pairs of boots to try on, you figure out what fits. That's how it came to the Merrells. And then I'll go out on eBay and I'll buy a lightly used set at a 1/20th of the price, and you bring them in and you can wear them for years. It's the best. That's why I have several pairs. That's the only reason I have several pairs. You find the fit, and then you go and get them at a cheaper price. That's just me in a nutshell. Enjoy listening to the other stories, as always, especially all of the Russian hikers. I would have loved to have been over there, but not today. So back to you, Bob. Great net, W6CJX. This is K6DV. Ellen, bye.
Well, I am a big fan of Merrell, definitely. We have a Merrell outlet, and that's what started my Merrell obsession. So I shouldn't say I don't have any other boots, because I do have, I got the same ones, the low ones. And I had a pair of the high topper ones, the Midway, whatever you want to call those. And I swear I did everything I could, different inserts, sole inserts. They said you got to get a bigger insert. Well, got a bigger insert that had a little more, hump in the middle to kind of, because what was happening on my way down the trail, not up the trail, down the trail is where the problem was. And my toes were just being squished into the toe box there. And man, I came home with like toes getting all beat up. Anyway, so I could not get them to work. So I think maybe they were just the wrong size or something. I did sell them on, not eBay, but sold them on something. And someone bought them for like $100 because they were still kind of brand new, actually. All right, W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. We're talking boots. It can be boots of any kind, because are your boots made for walking?
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Well, hopefully they are. So yeah, motorcycle boots, ski boots, snowboard boots, hiking boots, everything. We're just talking boots tonight. All right. Thank you, Ellen, so much. Always a pleasure. And N6AQQ, Mr. Deo, welcome. And what's the weather like in Tustin?
Good evening. This is Dale on 6AQQ. It's 63 degrees in Tustin at the moment, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, as far as boots go, I had a pair of hiking boots like 10 years ago. I haven't had any since. I wore them out, and I never replaced them. I'm not hiking as much as I used to, so I'd like to more, but anyway. Anyway, thanks for doing that, Bob. And N6AQQ.
Well, great to hear you, Dale. And, anybody that wears out a pair of hiking boots should be honored, because there's so many people that have bought boots and shoes, not just, hiking boots, but other shoes, and they're like still brand new. They're in their closet. They never wore them. If you wore out a pair of hiking boots, you need a worn out hiking boot award or something. I think that's pretty awesome. And like Adrian said, he goes through like about 10 pair, and they'll just last one season. So that's someone that really does a lot of hiking. And I know he does. He doesn't just do a couple miles. It's more like 20 miles and all over. So, all right. Sounds great. Thank you, Dale. 66 here in the shack tonight. So it's the old Radio Shack. It's 66 degrees. So not bad. I got a couple of fans running just slightly, and slight breeze. Weather in the shack. All right, Dale, take care, bud. We'll talk to you soon. Logan, KD6LLB. Logan, welcome to the Great Outdoors.
Good evening, Bob, and everybody else out there. This is Logan, KD6LLB, coming in on All-Star. And quick word of caution about using boots for many, many years. I have seen boots disintegrate on the trail. And one case in particular was near the top of the steep climb there at the Chumash Trail over near Point Magoo. And I was actually hiking with the guy, and he had to make his way down with a flopping, falling apart boot trying to protect his feet. And it wasn't something that I would want to experience. And related thing, I saw half a Vibram sole on the trail just a couple of days ago after the rains. It looked like somebody's boots came apart. Anyway, I'm a fan of making sure that my boots are going to hold up. I've also had dress shoes fall apart in a very inconvenient way, but not on a trail. So as far as boots, I started life with waffle stompers, and I still remember them fondly. I actually just like saying waffle stompers. And I have tried most of the brands that have been mentioned. I've had Vask. They're too narrow for me. They don't work for my feet. I've used Merrell and Ace Solo, made them work pretty well for packing when I used to carry a heavier pack and actually backpack in the Sierras. And they weren't perfect for my feet, but I could with some effort to break them in, and lots of moleskin and proactive blister management or prevention, I had good luck with those, and I thought they were well made. I have also used Hi-Tech and Loa, and I just beat the crap out of those in no time. They don't work for me. They're much too light. I hike on very rocky terrain mostly, and so I can understand how they're comfortable, but they didn't stand up to use for me. But a few years back, I found a brand called Oboz, and it's a silly name to me. Sounds funny, but it's Outdoor Bozeman. And in particular, the Bridger B Dry, both the mid and the low, are, for me, the best hiking shoes. And they also happen to be really durable, solid. They're pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. So that's a big deal. That's kind of where my shopping and looking around stops, as long as they make those. I've had several, haven't been able to beat one to death. I've actually got 3 pair here at various ages. And the ones that I thought would have given up by now, I use for local hikes, and they just keep chugging along. I did have a comment about construction. One thing that was a big deal to me, I don't know if all boots have gone this way, but they started integrating some sort of strap to keep the heel more stable. And that was a big design improvement, in my opinion, and it pretty much put an end to the heel blisters, as far as I can tell. I've lost some toenails and done a lot of damage to my feet with boots that weren't quite right. And I agree with Ellen that the most important thing is fit, comfort, whether or not they actually work for what you want to do, and when you get back, your feet don't hurt. If you can hike and not worry about your boots, or even better, actually enjoy the support they give, that's ideal. Quick comment about, I use rounded heels now. I used to use the kind of sharp-heeled boots that are made for, traction in snow, ice, and, mountaineering, and I give up some of the traction going downhill in difficult terrain, and use something that rolls and strides, and it's just much easier walking, and it doesn't sort of drive your knees around as much. So that's another design improvement, or a different option that I've gone with. As far as ski boots, yes, whatever it takes to get good ski boots. There's nothing worse while you're in perfect conditions. And I used to use Technica ski boots, and they were okay for their time. I don't have much to compare them to, but I definitely got custom cork footbeds, which is what they had at the time. I don't know what they have now. And as far as Kniesel, it's Kniesel, a little bit of a K, and Kniesel is my approximation of the German. I had Kniesel White Star skis for a while because I broke my skis, and that's what I could buy used from the pro shop. Other than that, I used Dynastar. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me, and good luck to everybody who's going skiing this year. I hope their boots, and hiking, I hope their boots work well. KD6 LLB. Thanks, Bob.
Well, thank you, Logan. That's awesome. That's some good information. Yeah, I remember some of these classes or something I took one time where they said, don't skimp on your boots and don't skip on your sleeping pad and other things you can kind of do away with. But those are, at the end of the day, your feet don't need to hurt more than the rest of your body. And you need to lay on something really comfortable. And they make some good stuff out there now. So now we're kind of switching, but not really. Well, we're touching a little bit on snow and skiing and things, so that's good. I want to get Jonathan in here. Maybe he'll have some interesting facts on skating. Once we get to the, we might do it next week. I don't know. It comes to me in a vision, and that's how I pick my topics. W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. So we're down to Hal. Go ahead, Hal. Welcome.
November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima. Thanks, Bob. And I don't think you should be doing those cuss words toward me. Just kidding. Well, my history with hiking boots is pretty much zero. The only what I would say I had as hiking boots were, as a deputy sheriff, I wore 12-inch high-top Wellington slip-ons. And in the fire department, I wore Red Wing Wildland boots. And that's about the extent of my hiking boots. November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima, back to the net. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, but those are some good boots. Those are professional boots, if you will. Yeah, the Wildland Fire Red Wings. And Red Wing, if you listen to our learning lesson for boots tonight, that was one of the very first companies that put soles on rubber soles. They invented the rubber sole. I thought it was the Beatles all this time. But it was Red Wing back in 1837. It was a long time ago, either way. So they're the ones responsible for rubber soles on our boots and shoes, probably. All right, Hal. Well, thank you so much for that. And we appreciate it. That's another little aspect I didn't even start to think about, but those kind of boots are very expensive. That's for sure. I've looked at them, not that I need them. And let's get to Steve, KI6LOB. Sorry for the wait. Go ahead, Steve, and welcome.
All right, no worries, Bob. This is Steve, KI6LOV. And as far as the boots that I currently wear, and I'm on my third pair of Keen, Keen boots. And I haven't heard that brand mentioned. My second pair of those, I wore them. I still would wear them today, but the problem is I've had them for more than 10 years, and my feet are getting bigger. They're kind of spreading out, and I had to get a half size bigger. But I think, as it is with many companies, the quality is declining a little bit. So we'll see how these work out. But as far as the debate between like running shoes and boots on the trail, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people with a sprained and or broken ankle because they didn't have boots on, and that's really going to ruin your day. And especially in the High Sierra. If you're going to the High Sierra, you should have some boots on, boots of your choice. I'm not going to tell you how to dress. So anyway, with that, boots are my choice, Bob, and I'll give it back to you, KI6LOV.
Well, that's why you won the Field Reporter of the Year award at our little ceremonies. Didn't you weren't invited? Oh, I thought you were there. That's because you have a lot of knowledge, 50 years of hiking, at least, or more, and especially consistently. So you probably have logged more miles than most of us. But definitely, I can't imagine doing anything serious. Like, who was it, Bob? I think Bob G. You said something like, if it's serious hiking, I put on some real boots. If it's just some, let's just go for a little walk or hike and toolie around, it's not too bad. Then put on, some running shoes or something that has a nice sole on the bottom there. All right. Well, sounds good. And you know what? I was going to mention Keen because I have owned 3 pair in my time. Not that they all wore out either. Those are the thing. They're probably still brand new. But I have owned 3 pairs of Keens, the low ones, and I have the actual hiking boots. And I forgot what the other pair was. So I didn't mention it because I thought you might. See how we think alike. Look at that. Okay.
Hey, Bob, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
LOV.
Go ahead, Steve.
I just wanted to mention that I will make an exception for the running shoes with all the trail runners who I see out on the trail because apparently they're so badass, nothing deters them. Especially when you see the people with shorts on and their legs are filthy dirty because they've done about like 25 or 30 miles. All right, that's my final comment. KI6LOV.
Oh, great point. That's exactly what I was thinking when you started talking about that, is that anybody that's going to run on a trail, you're in pretty good shape. Your ankles are good. Your legs are good. And I've had people come up behind me. I'm like, what the heck? And all of a sudden they go flying by me. Sorry. Hi. How are you today? Have a good day. Like, oh my gosh, who was that? They're flying. I'm just trying to make it up the darn hill. This guy's running. But yeah, definitely. They get away with it for a while until they start getting older. But we won't let him in on that secret. Ron, KF4PQH. Welcome, Mr. Ron. How are you doing out there in Virginia, IA?
Good evening, Bob and Annette. KF4PQH in Locust Grove, Virginia. Talking about temperatures, by the way. Right now the temperature is about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, going down to about 20 tonight. So it's going to be a cool night. So you folks are kind of warm out there. Boots. Oh, back in the day, I liked some Merrells for some hiking and stuff. I wasn't a big hiker, but doing the outdoor stuff and doing some camping. But back in 1967, I got these nice high-top black leather boots, and they were really cool, and the U.S. government gave them to me for free. And then about 6 months later, they said, hey, you're going on a vacation, and we got some new boots for you. They're green canvas on the side. They got Vibram soles, and they are spike-resistant. And leather front, leather back, and green canvas up the side. And work great in the jungle. So this is KF4PQH. Everybody stay safe. Enjoy things out there. And looking forward to the new year. Back to Net Control 7-3.
It's a jungle out there. Yeah, I was waiting for someone to mention that. I think maybe someone else did. But the United States issue boots. And oh wait, that was I think that was Hal was talking about, like the police boots, that some of those have kind of like they're not all leather, but just the upper part flexes a little. I guess there's so many shoes in the world, but that's pretty funny. Yeah, they gave you the green ones and said, okay, here you go, and your 2 tickets to paradise. Well, I'm glad you're here to tell about it. That's the main thing right there. Anyone else that would like to talk to us tonight? We have a subject on the table of boots. Boots are made for walking. Hey, if you wear boots, I like cowboy boots. I guess that's on the table too. I do like cowboy boots, and one of the reasons is they go up the side of my leg, and they give me that extra ankle support, because I have a bad ankle, or a weird ankle, trick ankle. All right, let's see who else is out there tonight. W6EJX Net Control for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. Welcome.
KO6LQJ, Jeff in Burbank.
Foxtrot Golf Whiskey. Whiskey 2 Alpha Yankee Zulu. This is Victor.
I just remembered I was going to call out for internet people at the beginning. I forgot. But because it is hard, you can get in on the internet if there's no one else trying on a repeater. All right, I picked up Jeff, I picked up Steve, and I have Victor. And if I finish writing that, I can talk. Let's say hello to Jeff in Burbank. KO6LQJ.
Hey, how you doing? I'm a geologist, and I work for the Army Corps of Engineers. So that like Hal was saying, the government buys me a pair every year.
But I live in boots. I wear the Danner Vicious boots. And by living in these, I mean I wear them every day. I wear them to weddings, funerals, you name it. I'm always wearing those boots because I'm really hard on shoes, and my knees aren't that great. So even if I try to wear sneakers, my knees are giving me a hard time. I've kind of got duck feet, so these Danners, though, fit me like they're just an extension of my body, and I can punish them all I can, and they never fall apart. When I get a new pair each year, the previous year gets snow sealed, and those are my snow boots. So anyway, Danners, love them. KO6LQJ, Jeff.
Yeah, Danners, great ones. Expensive, unless you don't have to buy them yourself. Anyway, but I've looked in those before and then looked the other way just because of the price. But I know for a fact that, and there's some Italian boots out there that are really good too. I mean, not Gucci or whatever. There's a few name brands. I'm trying to remember them all, but definitely Danner. Yeah, they do a lot for the fire service and, like you said, geology. We got to get into some more rocks. We could get my brother-in-law. He lives up there in Cedar City, Utah. He just gets geodes and all kinds of great stuff. His whole house, in front of his house, is full of things he's found in the Utah desert area. Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you, Jeff. Good to hear you tonight. Thanks for coming and being here. And let's say hello to Steve, WA6FGW.
Well, good evening to Bob in the net. This is WA6 Foxtrot Golf Whiskey. And by the way, I want to add my vote for the Keens. I've had a number of pairs of boots over the years. Keens are my more recent. I think I'm probably with the other gentleman. My feet probably are starting to get a little bit wider. And they were right out the bat. I was told by several salespeople, mainly at REI, that they seem to know what they're doing, that the boots from Keen are just a skosh wider than perhaps the average boot coming off the line. So that turned out to be well. The other one that really did me wonders had them resold twice. Went through the soles. But A Solo, I had a pair that probably initially, if I had been doing what I was doing, like wearing 2 pair of socks and that sort of thing, I would have realized long before that something wider would be important. And it took at least one resole. When I had it resoled, by the way, some of the manufacturers are more than happy at no additional charge to make them like a half a size wider or something in the toe box area. So those kind of things cost some money, but in my case, they screwed up. They didn't. I wanted a Vibram sole put on, and when it came back after being at their shop for a couple of weeks, it turned out that they had missed the little caption about, oh, by the way, give me some Vibrams, and they said, oh, okay, no problem. We'll redo it for you next time around for no charge. But they said, wear them for a couple of weeks. Get them a chance to break in a little bit so that the glue might be a little bit easier to unfasten. It took me about 2 years to go ahead and burn through them. And when I called them, I said, I'm not sure how you want to handle this, and they said, oh, we'll be more than happy to honor that 2 years later. So that's all I can say. They treated me very nicely. Okay, a couple other things. I had mentioned 2 socks. The idea is hopefully let the slippage happen between the sock layers, not between your foot and one of the socks. And that was probably the biggest improvement I made in my particular application of hiking boots. And let's see, what else? I guess that's it, except for, duct tape is, we had at least 2 or 3 situations where someone had a boot start to come apart on them, and good old duct tape saved the bell. And the only other, how would you say it, unique thing, we had a backpack trip in Zion one year, and the son of one of the guys kind of in charge decided he was going to hike in Zion Canyon, and everyone can picture in their mind how rugged it is with cactus and everything else. Did it with flip-flops. So that one's for you, Bob. You can do that next time around, right? Anyway, I think that's all I've got. Have separate boots for snowshoeing and whatnot. Back to Bob, WA6FGW.
Wow, that's some hardcore hiking boots, or a hardcore hiking boot story, actually having them resold. I remember when I bought my Loas back in '69. That was when I got my North Face jacket, when I think they were still made in Berkeley before it went across the ocean. And the Loa boots, they were like a brown suede, I guess is the best way to say it. And so they sent me home with some, what's that called, Snow Seal, in like a blue can or something, and they said, put this on your boots, and because we had a lot of snow up there. So that was the whole reason of getting those. And, well, it turned those nice light brown, suede-looking, nice hiking boots into dark black almost, because it just changed the whole thing. And I was kind of disappointed, but then I thought, that's just what it is. That's how you do it. And so I'll put all that wax seal or snow wax. I don't know, something like that. Victor, good evening, my friend. How are you? Thank you, Steve. W2AYZ Victor, go ahead.
Hey, good evening, Bob and Annette. W2AYZ here in Oak Park. Today we had a 5-mile hike with our Scout troop. I was able to breaking a new pair of boots. It's a Timberland. Timberland boots. My previous pair was probably half a size smaller than it should be. So give me black toes in the last two backpack camping trips. So I had to give it up and get a new pair. So for hiking and a long distance, your feet does expand. The normal size would not cut it sometimes. So just have to be a good size. I'm not particularly picky on the brand, but the size has to be right, and the width and the length. Otherwise, the feet will suffer. So I also had an old pair of North Face boots. After 15 years, I kind of suspected it's going to fail. The last time when we traveled, I put it on just to try it, but after an hour or so, it broke. The sole fell off. So I think it's kind of critical for any rubber soles to break down after 15 years or so. So if you have an old pair, just get a backup if you have a long trip or something. So it fails, you still have a backup, or you have to fix with a duct tape or something. Back to that, W2AYZ.
Yeah, the duct tape kind of came up when we had the fix and repair in the Great Outdoors. There's so many pictures. I was looking up some different pictures from AI or whatever, non-copyright stuff, and they had all these people with, they kind of look like space shoes, and the one guy just had he just like kept going with the duct tape, so his whole boot was covered in like silver tape. And probably, I was thinking like through hiking. We should do something on through hiking sometime. I don't know if anyone's done that, but there's a lot of little things you got to do, and that's probably one of them. Easiest to take is some duct tape because it strings down. You can make strings out of it, not strings, but small strips, and then use it to even close a wound if you had to, like if you had someone had a cut. All right, Victor. Thank you so much. And that sounds like, I think the takeaway tonight too is like several people have mentioned and said that the fit is the most important. Doesn't matter who makes them. Doesn't matter, how much they cost. It does. But, if you got a great pair of boots and they're only $50 and you hiked in them several times and you're just like, I don't need anything else, you're good. Good to go. This is W6CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. Let's do one last call, and we're going to wrap it up because it's getting after the half hour or quarter hour or something like that. I don't know. Anyone else have anything? Any missed calls? Any missed people that didn't get a chance to get in? Please come now.
KD6 LLB with a quick recheck.
Okay, I think you got it. We'll tie the Tim flaps. Oh, no. We want to tie the boots. The bootstraps. All right, Logan, you got it. Anything you want, go for it, and then we'll close the net after you. So take it away. KD6 LLB from W6CJX Net Control.
Thanks, Bob. It's KD6 LLB returning. So you mentioned wax to waterproof boots and, starting with nice light brown leather and ending up with something very dark. And I remember doing that the first time. I don't remember. I think they were a Solo or Merrell boots. I don't remember which, but they were, they were glued soles. And I sort of tried to follow the instructions. I used a hairdryer and Snow Seal, the wax that's most common. And the leather kept absorbing more wax, and I kept adding wax. And, I thought at some point it would get saturated. But this is funny now, but it wasn't funny back when I was in graduate school and I could barely afford these boots. I eventually put so much Snow Seal in the leather that basically the soles came off, and I was heartbroken. But I'm working through it, and I can laugh about it sometimes now, and one day I'll recover. It was a pretty rough experience, so don't add too much Snow Seal, I guess, is the takeaway. KD6 LLB. Thanks, Bob, and good night, everyone.
Yeah, and I had that whole can of Snow Seal, which I never ended up using the rest of it, because I don't know, once I put it on, it seemed like nothing. Maybe I reapplied it, I guess, but boy, that was such a disappointment. I don't remember if they told me. This is now, also the place I bought these from is kind of interesting. You guys have heard of Eagle Creek. They were up in Idlewild. Steve and Nona Barker started Nomads, and then they went on to, they made packs and accessories and things for rock climbing up there. But, they went on to be quite successful with Eagle Creek products. But yeah, that's definitely a great way to go, and, just have it there. So I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I'm ready to go. I don't know about you guys. If you're ready to go, we'll all go together. I'm just going to go to the great outdoors and go crazy. This is W6CJX. I want to thank everyone for checking in. I mean, great. We talked about boots. I thought, okay, this is going to go over like a boot. We're going to get the boot. But no, I think it was good. I think we hit on some great topics. If you're into the outdoors, or you were, or you want to be, it's the place to be. I mean, you get a chance to actually, hear some good stuff, and then you can always go back to the archive, and then we'll have a few extra things tomorrow I'll add in there, but you have to go back and listen to it. Otherwise, you won't hear it. You can hear yourself and send it over to your family and friends. With that, I want to say thanks to Cecil, his legendary leadership, the whole Papa system, the whole tech team, all the net controllers. We have to have net controllers. We wouldn't have nets, or it would just be total chaos. Now, I think you guys all do a great job. And have a great Monday, which is the start of the week here today. And we'll all downhill from here. Hopefully the wind will slow down and we'll get some nice weather. Time to go out hiking into the great outdoors. See ya. W6CJX Clear 2118. And I'm heading out to the great outdoors.